What's up, boys and girls? It is your man, Pi. Today we have a lovely, beautiful guest. His name is MoTh. This has been an interview so long in coming. I've been looking forward to it so much. I really don't know where to go. I've interviewed his compatriots already, both Folk, who he's collaborated with in the band Bad Habits, as well as his current project, Faculty X, that he collaborates with Larry Vortex. Please check the channel out. Look at those videos, those interviews. They're quite interesting. And dare I say, I think we killed it. The insect that needs no introduction. MoTh. It's the flag that you've been waving, flavor you've been craving. It's the Raisins show. Well, now I'm hungry. Okay, so I'm recording.
I'm recording too. We're both recording. We're recording each other. That's so great. We're finally recording together.
What a wacky coincidence. It's been too long. I guess, yeah, this is the interview that personally, this is my private Idaho of interviews, as it were. I've worked with, I've done interviews in your orbit, but I have yet to hit the sun. So first I did an interview with Folk, who is a wonderful musician and worked with you on Bad Habits. And then my most recent last interview was with Larry Vortex himself, the man, the mystery. So folks out there, if you're listening, please go to the channel, check those out, and that will give you context for what is about to happen tonight. Let me introduce you to my good friend, MoTh. Visual artist, musician, really, man,
Jewish person. That's, yeah.
Jack of all trades.
I'm super happy to be talking to you. I'm super happy to be talking to you about both of those projects because it's been a lot of fun. It's been really great, and I really enjoyed your conversations with both John, Folk, and Larry. And they both really wanted us to have a conversation as well. And I hope they're fucking happy now.
Well, I don't think they have any choice but to be. So I guess let's get into the nitty gritty of it. Let's start from the beginning. So music, right? Why? Why music for MoTh?
I suppose I was really lucky to have a mother who was a musician, so that was my immediate in. It was the most fun thing to do besides when you're a kid, besides playing with toys and going outside and going to the movies and whatever it is that normal kids do. The most fun thing for me was to play with all the different instruments. And my mother was crazy, and she got me everything. She got me all kinds of keyboards and small drums and all the recorders. I was like 5 years old, just recording myself, playing different instruments, making noise. And it was just the most fun thing. It was this immediate, for me anyway, I just would hear something and I was immediately happy. And to sort of get a little bit older, when you become a teenager and you think, you know what, maybe I can do this as like a job is the wrong word, but I always thought of music as sort of like, it would be like saying, do you blink and breathe as a job? Like, it's something I'm going to do, whether I want to do it or not. It's an involuntary thing. I realized when I was like pretty young that I would be thinking of songs in my head all the time. And it became physically uncomfortable not to try and get those songs out of my head and out of my heart and put them out into the world. Whether that meant recording them into a little recorder or just playing them live in the moment and having that be the first and last time maybe that I played them. It felt like something I needed to do. It felt like any normal bodily function that we have as individuals. It felt like that. It's just something I had to do. So that's where it starts, is my mother encouraging me to play with instruments, not necessarily play, music as a musician, just to have fun playing and creating. It was because of her. She actually you're probably slightly wrong, just because she really listened to a lot of different things. Like, she was the person that introduced me to Nine Inch Nails. She was the person that introduced me to, like, early Metallica. So with, like, obsessions with blues and classical music,
Yeah.
and even like soca, like early, soca music, and reggae and dance hall, also came all of the rock and roll and heavy metal. So whenever, currently or in the past, whenever I have done sort of extreme music, even though she's quite a bit older than she, was when she was listening to this stuff, it's in her vortex, and it's in her lexicon to have the context of, like, okay, well, this is extreme for this reason. Like, she's also my mother. So it doesn't really matter what I play. She's going to love it.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And I think I've tested this theory too, where I haven't told her that it's me, and I've played some things, and it didn't go so well. But once she finds out it's me, it's, oh my god, that's brilliant, that's so fucking cool, I love that. And I'm like, you're a stupid bitch, fuck off.
That's so funny.
Honestly.
It's
just to... No, go ahead.
No, I mean, but I guess that's, the role of a parent is to, support. And I do think that there really is something to kind of, the emotional impact of music, not just in hearing it, but like how you hear it, who you hear it with, who made it. We always talk about nostalgia music and like listening to music, and how, you'll show music to somebody and you'll be like, oh my God, I grew up with this music, and they just won't get it. But I that's something that I really love about music, is just like the community aspect of it. And so
what I'm working on now with both Folk and Larry, both of these projects are, and I don't mean this disparagingly, it is what it is. I think both of these projects are the kind of projects that maybe one would need context before listening or after listening to them to see if they can digest it. Because I think for the most part, if you just play Bad Habits for somebody, I don't think they're going to like it. But I think if you find out, like, no, these guys just went into a room and they improvised everything. They didn't talk about the music. They didn't even ask what key. They didn't even tune their instruments. For better or for worse, they didn't even tune their instruments. And then I think when you know that, and then you listen to it, it's like, oh, you know what? That's kind of cool. Maybe as an experiment, it's kind of cool. Maybe you're not going to have the emotional impact that, like, I have when I played it.
Yeah.
But certainly, it's something that I always give the sort of comparison to, like, weird films that maybe most people are like, I don't get this director or that director, but then when you realize what their style is, then you're like, oh, I kind of dig that. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
So context is important.
I was gonna say, as someone who has listened to a not insignificant amount of Bad Habits tracks, of which there are quite a few. I honestly
Yeah.
think that there's something there for everybody, just because of how much
Yeah.
content there is.
Yeah. Bad Habits, we can get into this later when we get to Bad Habits, but Bad Habits really was the most important thing to happen to me in my musical journey since probably I was very young. It was probably the best thing to happen to me in decades in terms of music. Well, we were all working on the same street corner, and I wasn't really able to sell myself as well as anybody else. And you know, John is forever that dude who just wants to fucking jam. He just wants to. It's like, you play an instrument, let's fucking jam. Oh, you've been playing for 38 years? Let's get in the room and jam. Oh, you just picked up an instrument for the first time this week? Let's fucking jam. He doesn't discriminate. He just wants to play with people.
Yeah.
And so you can imagine, I mean, we used to talk music a lot. I love talking about music. I don't necessarily think I was always interested in talking about playing music or performing music. By the time I end up working with you guys, I have long put away playing an instrument. I basically stopped playing music in the early 2000, probably 2010,
Okay.
2011. I stopped playing like completely.
Okay.
And with a couple of specific exceptions where I was paid to play, where I literally showed up, played, and got paid, and that was it, I did not pick up a guitar for years.
Do you want to go? Do you want to go into that at all? That's quite something.
I'll make a long story short.
Okay.
In the early aughts, I started working at a music studio that all of the music I was listening to at that time, Candiria, E-Town Concrete, I mean, all of the New York City hardcore bands that I was really into, they all recorded at the same place. It was called Purple Light Studios. Hasn't existed for a long time. And we were lucky enough to go there. And I paid for the whole band at the time to go. I was in this, we called ourselves a hardcore band. We weren't hardcore, we were new metal. I'm sorry to break everyone's hearts, but we all had box braids and we all played 7-string guitars.
Wow.
And we were trying to be like, we were trying to be Candiria meets Hatebreed meets Vision of Disorder meets Earth Crisis, but really we were a watered down Korn.
I was about to say the box braids gave it away.
It wasn't a thing, but honestly, it was the greatest experience of my life to go to the studio. That I just couldn't believe, looking at the record, the CDs.
Yeah.
Whenever I turned over the CD to see who produced the record, it was always the same name, which was Michael Borelli. And when I met Mike, I was just like, I can't believe that every band I listen to right now recorded in the same place, and it's 20 minutes away from my house. This is amazing.
That's wild, yeah.
So I went there with a band, and it was a very eye-opening experience. One thing that was said around the studio a lot was the tape doesn't lie. If you can play, then you're going to be able to record no problem. But if you can't play, it's not, oh, the settings are wrong, or, oh, the fucking amp is, like, anyone who's worked or, performed or recorded music will understand that there's always that guy who just blames everything else
Yeah.
on why he can't record his parts. I mean, and even Kirk Hammett, famously got into it with Bob Rock. I was just rewatching with another mutual friend of ours, Evan.
Yeah.
Me and Evan were watching Metallica, a year and a half in the life of Metallica, and Bob Rock said it, and he's, Kirk could not play this solo to save his life, and Bob Rock was like, whenever a guitar player doesn't do his homework, he starts blaming everything else. I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
So imagine us in the studio, and instead of that one guy in the band who can't record his parts, it's the whole fucking band.
No.
Okay?
No.
I'm sorry. Listen, I'm sorry to throw them under the bus. I don't mean to be a dick about this, but this is just where we were at. A lot of these guys, nice guys, everyone was friends.
Yeah.
It was cool. And everyone just wanted to be, let's be a band. Let's just be a band. And unfortunately, a lot of these guys, they were very new to their instruments. I mean, two of them literally just went out and just became a guitar player and a drummer like that year.
Oh, wow.
And I was taking off from school to go over to the guitar player's house just to not give him lessons, but to just jam with him and to just try and sort of nurture, wherever he's at. It's like, let's just play. The only way you're going to learn how to play is to play. So let's just play together. And that's how we wrote a lot of these songs. We would just be jamming together. And, we went into the studio and the guitar player couldn't play his parts. So I played all the guitar parts for most of it. The drummer, he couldn't play his own parts. We literally had the drummer from Candiria, who was engineering at Purple Light at the time, Ken Schock. Kenny literally had to play drums on some of these tracks. I mean, it was embarrassing. Like, here I am, I'm spending thousands of dollars to bring this band into the studio to work with, people that we idolize.
Yeah.
And they're all talking about how fucking Mike sucks and Kenny's an asshole and the studio sounds terrible and fuck these motherfuckers. And I'm like, no, I think you guys are just embarrassed because the studio is revealing your limitations.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we had a real heart-to-heart, Mike and I, and he encouraged me to sort of, maybe think about, like, maybe moving on to something else.
Yeah.
Because he felt that I had a lot of potential. And it was funny because, like, at the time the band was like, he's Palpatine and you're Darth Maul and you're fucking turning against us.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, dudes, you guys, I'll stay in the band, but, like, can you guys try to record your own parts, please? This is crazy.
Yeah.
I ended up leaving the band anyway for other reasons that we don't have time to get into now, but I started interning at the studio, which was a dream come true. And basically, over the next, I don't even know how many fucking years, but from like 2002 to 2007, I played with so many different bands. I recorded so many people. I had incredible experiences, met some of the greatest people ever. But then it kind of got to a point where, I really needed to make some money. I really needed to, because I wasn't getting paid all this time. And I found out that my mother was looking into getting a second job to, like, work nights.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I really started to feel like I can't do this anymore. Like, she gave me everything. She bought me all of this equipment. She bought me guitars and she would drive me to shows and she just supported me. And here she is. She can't even make, payments on her bills. Like, I have to start making some money.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't going to make money at the studio. So there was a sort of dramatic turn of events where I got into a really bad car accident, and
Mm.
the payments on the car were gonna on the insurance, the car insurance, skyrocketed because of the accident.
Mm-hmm.
And I really felt like this was all my fault because, here my mom was already trying to get a second job to make these payments.
Yeah.
Now I've crashed the car and she's gonna have even more to pay. So I made the hard choice to go out and get a job. And it was during that period that I had to make a decision between either trying one last try to fucking make this music thing happen, or really just do music whenever I could,
Mm-hmm.
whenever there was an opportunity to actually make money. And I chose the latter.
Yeah.
And that, by the time we're there, I was really no longer feeling good when I played. I didn't feel happy when I played. I felt like I put as much as I could put into this, and I got very little back in terms of actually picking up a guitar and trying to play or even write songs.
Mm-hmm.
I was getting physically ill when I had a guitar in my hand. I just
Wow.
felt like such a failure. And I did have an opportunity to go to California, um, and it did not, I did not take it. And I really felt like, you know what, this is just going to be another dead end. Like every opportunity that came up, so to speak, I was like, this is going to be the thing that does it. And when this California thing happened, my first thought was like, wait a minute, this is going to be the thing, and I'm finally going to get my foot into the door.
Mm.
And I said, you know what, I got to stop this. Otherwise, I'm going to end up just like Michael Borelli did, and just like all these other people that I knew, where it's just like, by the end, Mike couldn't pay his bills, and he had to have a partner come on and totally change the studio. And, I mean, Mike basically died penniless
Mm.
at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And Mike was always telling me, like, the ship's going to come in, the ship's going to come in. And I just felt like I was being unrealistic and that, like, it didn't matter if I was good. It didn't matter if I wasn't good.
Mm-hmm.
What mattered is who I knew.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know anybody that was in. I was having lunches with the vice president of Atlantic Records. I had lunch with the president of J Records. I had I was having all these meetings. I was sort of representing the studio, and I was showing them all the work we were doing. I was in like 5 different bands. Like, I had my hand in anything. So if any one of these bands hit, I was going to have my way in. And we were doing showcases. I mean, we had management. We had all these different things.
Yeah.
And it's like, everyone that I was working with, they were able to sustain themselves. It wasn't easy, but they were able to do it. This one worked as a bartender. This one, look, it is what it is. They had wealthy parents who were supporting all of their whims,
Mm-hmm.
and in some cases still do to this day. And, and look, man, I'm jealous of that. That's fucking awesome for them. Like, I love that they can do that. But I didn't have that opportunity. I mean, if my mother had the means to support me, she definitely would have, but she did not. And the well was, dry.
Mm-hmm.
And I really felt like I needed to step up as a son and help her. And I basically fucking sort of put childish things away when that happened. I said, I can't do this music thing anymore. So I stopped.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever I tried to pick up a guitar after that, it just felt like a selfish waste of time. It felt like every time I picked up a guitar, it was me deluding myself into thinking, maybe I can make it. Maybe I can write for somebody. I had opportunities to write for people. Maybe I can do that, and that was not a good feeling, to feel like I was deluding myself into thinking like it's gonna happen. When I just wanted to play. It wasn't about let's fucking become a rock star. It wasn't even about let's write a song right now. It was like, can I just pick up a guitar and not feel like I'm gonna vomit.
Yeah.
And I did not have that feeling. So I stopped picking it up. And the people I did write for, sometimes they paid me, most of the times they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So that felt like a waste of time.
Mm-hmm.
And fast forward to, when I meet Folk and he just wants to jam. Once he found out I played, guitar at one point, it's like he just wanted to fucking play.
Yeah.
And it took him it took a few years, I think. Unless my math is wrong, it took a few years for us to get into a room together. But once we got into the room, I kind of warned him, like, dude, I haven't picked up a guitar in I don't even know how long. Like, I don't know what you think this is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And the joke was on me because
Yeah, he doesn't care.
I did sound like shit. I sounded so bad, and you know what? It didn't matter. And that wasn't that wasn't something that I ever thought I would be able to feel. I'm literally playing something that I would use to channel my emotions. I would feel things and not be able to explain them in words, but I could play those feelings through this instrument.
Mm.
And to pick that instrument up again and just to be able to allow those feelings to flow through me and out of the instrument again and not care if it sounded good. Not be concerned if I'm writing a good song. Like, it had nothing to do with that. I was talking to Folk yesterday about this. It's like, it's so nice to be able to go into a room and just scream. And not even scream words. Just let out that emotion. Or scream into a pillow or anything. And Victor Wooten very kind of famously talks about, music, thinking about music as a language.
Mm-hmm.
And I was, for so long, I think I derived the wrong message from that. Because for so long I felt like, well, you should only be speaking through your instrument if you have something relevant to say.
Yeah.
And I completely disagree with that logic that I had for a long time. And now it's like, just fucking say whatever you want. You fucking say whatever the fuck you want. And that, there's other things that come along with that for me. Like, we don't need any more straight cis white dudes fucking playing music and complaining about how sad they are anymore. I personally would rather hear from people who don't look like me, but it doesn't change the fact that, like, now when I make music, I basically just assume no one's going to hear it anyway, so I don't have to worry. It's like, I just get to make it and be free to feel whatever I feel and sound however I sound. So once we had that initial sort of jam session at his place, that was a real sort of come to Jesus moment for me, where I was like, holy shit, that felt great.
Yeah.
Then COVID happens.
Of course.
Once lockdown happens, it's like, I don't know whose idea it was. I assume it was his. But it's like, you want to fucking jam? It's like, let's fucking do this. And me and him started every week, I would go to his place and we would just fucking jam. And that's where a lot of these Bad Habits recordings, some of which to this day have not even been released yet. That's where a lot of this stuff is still, it has come and will be coming out. Because we did a lot of work. We would fucking play, till all hours. And again, very freeing. It was the best thing to be able to feel good playing music again.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big deal for me. For sure.
Man, that's awesome. I mean, I'm so happy that, you were able to make the comeback of the century, really. Because I've been there, but never for that amount of time. But I've also never reached those heights in terms of the music industry. So burnout is a real thing, and folks at home, take care of yourselves before you get to that point, if you can at all.
the other thing is that it's very difficult because the closer that you get to any sort of success, that's when shit gets really bad, no matter how close you are with your
Yeah.
band. And, you know, for every fucking moment where I thought, wow, this is going to be it, we're really going to do it, there were 10,000 things happening interpersonally with the band, where it's like, I knew then too, I'm like, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Not with this attitude. We haven't even started making money yet. Imagine when, we start talking money. I mean, real money. We can't even agree on fucking simple shit. Like, this is just not, it's not how it's done. And in many ways, that's where Faculty X is a dream for me, because Larry is not a musician.
Right.
And so he allows me free range. Not that Folk doesn't. John is really, obviously the thing that we always say in Bad Habits is like, there's no rules. So because there's no rules, you can't do anything wrong. And because of that, I never get a fucking note from Folk that's like, hey man, can you fucking like, it's not a thing.
Yeah.
But with Bad Habits, because there's no rules, we're not doing the same thing that I'm doing with Faculty X, where in Faculty X I'm trying to write songs. And it's great because Larry, what he always said was, the music is God.
Yeah.
So like, whatever the song needs to be, you do that. And he stays out of the way. And it's really nice to be able to not have to discuss shit with a committee, especially if I think I'm right. Because that was always one of the worst things, is like, this could make the song better, but there's 3 guys in the band who are like, the word debris is kind of like gay, so let's not,
Oh my God.
Can we use a different word? And I'm like, what the fuck is happening right now? Like,
Yeah.
I can't have this conversation. And it's like, well, you're outvoted because 3 of us think that debris is gay. Like, I hate to be that petty motherfucker who brings up a conversation that happened over fucking 15 years ago.
No.
But that's a real conversation with a band where I'm like, I guarantee you are all wrong.
Yeah.
And it's like, now I don't have to have those conversations with somebody.
That's beautiful.
I can just fucking do what I think makes sense. And I don't have to deal with people's egos. It's such a gross thing when people start to feel fucking self-conscious about shit. It's like, I don't know, man, like, vulnerability, it to me is such a strength. And I've never been that guy who tries to look and sound tough and tries to be fucking like macho. Like, I hate this macho fucking thing that guys do. And so many bands I was in, it was dudes who were trying to be dudes. And I'm like, I don't know, man, you're some of the fucking hardest fucking heavy metal rockers of all time. They did what you would consider some pretty gay shit and wrote some gay lyrics. So you guys need to fucking figure that out, because you're so
and also
dumb.
some of them are women.
Yeah, don't even start that, because that's a whole nother thing. Like,
I bet
that they never. I mean, they could never. And by the way, to no one's surprise, none of those guys are doing okay these days in terms of like where they land with their political beliefs.
Oh,
like fucking like, like,
we know. We know.
I'm so grateful that even though I grew up in South Brooklyn, I was exposed to enough normal people that I didn't become that quintessential South Brooklyn racist, homophobic, macho asshole that so many people not just bands I was in, but so many people that I had in my life were. I mean, you know, that's something I appreciate about folk and appreciate about, I talked about Evan before. Evan is a real sort of important person in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Evan and folk and I would say you for sure also, none of you are afraid to be vulnerable, and none of you stick to these binary thoughts of like, this is how a man acts and this is how a woman acts and this is how a man dresses and this is how a woman dresses. Like, it's insane to me to have finally in my, now I'm in my 40s, but when I was in my 30s, to be able to meet people who didn't think and talk the way everyone that I was surrounded with talked. I feel so bad for Serge and System of a Down and the fact that he's got to deal with such fucking toxic ass people.
I was gonna say,
no pun intended.
That happens all the time. But yeah, good pun.
Oh God, it must. It's like, I hate you, but we need to go do this reunion tour because I need to pay off the fucking payments on this house. And it's like, gosh, it's so nice to just talk to like-minded people and not have to deal with it. Like, that was a big thing for me and my mother, was like, I was so proud of my mom that I wasn't that guy, and so grateful that I wasn't that guy who was embarrassed about who their mother voted for.
Yeah.
Because in my neck of the woods, either your whole family voted for Trump or you hate Trump and you might be a leftist, but your fucking parents, your whole family, they are MAGA to the core.
Wow.
And it's this point of sort of shame for you and embarrassment and these constant conversations that you have to have with your parents. And I was always so grateful that I was raised by somebody who was more progressive than all that. Interesting postscript to that story. We are on the opposite sides of the spectrum now with Israel and Palestine.
Really?
So unfortunately, I'm now sort of getting a taste of what it must feel like for those people who, feel in their heart of hearts that, not just Trump is wrong, not just MAGA is wrong, not just Republicans are wrong, but the Democrats are wrong. And, the whole fucking system is corrupt. And to know that, and to not even be able to have a conversation with their parents about how Trump is wrong. Forget defund the police. Forget the two-party system. We can't even address fascism in this country. And I now have an idea of what that tastes like with the amount of Israeli propaganda that I am aware of now, and have been sort of made aware of. It's just, it's so crazy. It's absolutely mind-blowing and crazy. But my mom is getting up there in years, and I made a decision that, like, she's going to know who I am. And whether I'm right or wrong, I'm going to be honest with her and tell her how I feel about these different things. Especially if she's going to send me fucking videos of, fucking Israeli propaganda. I'm going to let her know that, you can fuck off with that, because fuck that noise, dude. No way.
Yeah. The Israel-Palestine stuff is really, really tough to deal with.
I liken it to Black Lives Matter, because for a lot of people, Black Lives Matter was a line being drawn in the sand, and if you, whatever you felt at the time or whatever you thought at the time, that was your opportunity to sort of make a decision. Are you, Black Lives Matter, or are you fucking back in the blue? And I feel like October 7th was for my, maybe not my generation, but for maybe, for me personally, because the people that have been talking about Israel-Palestine, I mean, the same people that have been talking about civil rights for fucking, Angela Davis is still talking about this stuff. and her message hasn't changed. None of these people's messages have changed. They've saying, you go watch Angela Davis, from the 1960s. She's saying the same shit then that she is now. And so I don't want to act like October 7th was fucking a moment for the world.
Yeah.
But it was certainly a moment for me to look at, wait, what do I think about this? And I had to have some real hard conversations with, my partner, and I had to have some real, sort of, hard conversations with myself about, like, well, what do I believe and why do I believe it?
Mm-hmm.
And I did not come out of that on the other end rooting for Israel, I'll tell you that much,
Yeah.
to be nice about it.
Have you been, if you don't mind me asking?
So, I want to say yes and no.
Mm-hmm.
My mother always, when Israel came up, if I'm being honest, Israel and Palestine did not really exist for me for the last 40 years.
Yeah.
It was
ditto.
like, it's the Middle East. I don't get it. I don't know what's going on. It's complicated. I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
But my mother, when she, and to my ignorance and my privilege, I was just like, I don't fucking know what's going on over there.
Yeah.
So I didn't have a horse in that race. But what I did know was that I knew that my mother, she didn't call herself a Zionist. She was very specific with the language that she used, because I heard her talk about this a lot my whole life.
Okay.
She always said, you have to understand, I was raised by a Zionist. My mother was a Zionist.
Okay.
And I was like, what does that mean? I don't even know what that means.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, it just wasn't a part of my life. And then the way it was explained to me by my mother was that if Palestine put down their weapons, there would be peace. If Israel put down their weapons, they would be wiped off the face of the planet. So my reaction to that was, oh, well, what the fuck, dude? That sucks.
That seems unfair.
And then,
Yeah.
there's conversations about, like, Jewish people and their contribution to the civil rights movement where, like, I think that's documented that there are Jewish people that were, supportive of the civil rights movement.
Very
like,
much
absolutely
so.
Sure.
Very much so.
And we're not taking away from that at all. And then there's obviously, persecution of Jews throughout history. No one is saying that didn't happen, right? But I think what changed for me was looking at Zionism, understanding what it was, and understanding that the idea of Israel, what it is, and understanding that all of the historical evidence of anti-Semitism and persecution of Jews can absolutely be real. The Holocaust is real. Like, no one's fucking saying it wasn't. But that doesn't mean that we are still victims right now. And as far as I'm concerned, at least in terms of the Israeli government, they are not the victims. They are a far right-wing government.
Yeah.
And the Palestinians are the victims. And what I said to Larry, because Larry obviously is, you were able to learn about his mother being a Holocaust survivor. And, he and I have had conversations about this. And what I told Larry, not to fucking be a shill for the Dark Knight, because I'm sick of these fucking white dudes who get tattoos of, like, the Heath Ledger Joker, or just the Joker in general. It's such a gross fucking thing. It's like fucking chaos, bro. Like, it's so lame.
Yeah.
But to be that guy for a second and quote the Dark Knight, I told Larry, we've lived long enough to see ourselves become the villains.
Yeah.
Jews, at least Jews who support Israel, in my opinion, they have lived long enough to not be the victims anymore. And now they are the oppressors. There is a genocide happening. There is an apartheid happening. And I am so sorry for anyone that can't see that. I will say, I think I'm grateful that my mother doesn't, understand or want to understand what's happening in Palestine, because I think if she did, it would wreck her. If she understood, because she's a very, I would like to think she's a very compassionate person, and her Zionism is based on two things. First of all, compassion for who she thinks are the victims and who she thinks are the underdogs, it's very much not the IDF. That's insane. But also, I do think there's a nostalgic aspect to it, where it's like she lived in Israel as a child for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
She has the happiest memories
Yeah.
of Israel, and it reminds me of this small apartment I lived in when I was until I was 5 years old. It was the shitty, just disgusting apartment on top of a store. It's on Coney Island Avenue and Avenue J. It's just this gross looking building.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you, man, like if I was a millionaire, I would buy that whole building so I can live in that apartment. It's like, because that's when I think of being a child and being safe and being happy, that little tiny apartment, that's what I think of.
Yeah.
And I think that's Israel for my mother. She thinks of it so fondly because she was a little kid when she was there.
Right.
And she had a great time.
Right.
And I think if she understood what the cost of that was for the people of Palestine, past, present, and seemingly future, if there are any of them left in the next 20 years, I think it would wreck her, because like I said, I haven't had a fucking horse in that race for Israel for the past 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
I've just assumed that, don't kill the Jews, man. But knowing what I know now, I mean, it just eats anybody with a fucking conscience. It eats away at you. I mean, these people are, as we speak, as we have this conversation, talking about all this fucking music and all these fucking, albums that we're making. It's like these people are starving, they're suffering, they're dying, they're getting their limbs blown off, and they're fucking children who they are not going to grow up loving Israel and not wanting some sort of revenge. You are guaranteeing that these kids who lost their homes and their families and their pets and everything that they loved, you're guaranteeing that they're going to grow up and they're going to fucking want revenge.
Mm-hmm.
So congratulations. You're this self-fulfilling prophecy of you're always going to be the victims because you're creating new villains every day of people who are going to want to get whatever they can back. And if they can't get their land back, if they can't get their homes back, if they can't get their lives back, maybe they'll fucking blow themselves up. Maybe they will. Because you took everything away from them.
Yeah.
I don't know how you can support that and call it defense. I don't know how you can do that. And I think there's an element of racism there. There's an element of just not looking at Palestinians as human beings.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously an element of fear. We don't want the Holocaust to happen again. We don't want to be victims again. So we'll do whatever the fuck we have to do, even if that means wiping every Palestinian off the face of the planet and anyone else who comes after Jews. Even other Jews, because if you criticize Israel, you're anti-Semitic. It's like, dude, you guys are so fucking scared and you hold all the cards. You are safe now. The Holocaust is over. You're safe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
yeah. I think that's one of the major issues about Zionism is that I think eventually a lot of Jewish people will realize that the whole Zionist thing is they wrap themselves up and use other Jewish people as human shields, basically, and much in the same way as they claim Palestinians do. That it's like
any other nationalist. It's like any other nationalism. It's like anything else.
Yeah.
It's like any other extreme nationalist group where you're just going to support them no matter what they do. And it's like, you mean we can't even have a conversation? My mother hates Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. She hates Republicans. She hates the far right. Why are you okay with a far right extremist government governing Israel? Mm-hmm. Can we start there? And unfortunately, we
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
because you can't. The
Yeah.
propaganda is real.
Yeah, and I think they truly benefit from being an anti-Semitism generator.
Yeah, 100%,
Mhm.
100%.
Um,
So it sucks, but I'm also, you know, it's reminded me to do your research,
yes.
to look for yourself.
Yeah.
You can listen to everybody, but look into it yourself. Find sources, credible sources. I mean, you could find websites online that say that smoking 10 packs a day of cigarettes is good for you. I mean, finding actual, and that's a funny thing too, is like, my mother loves Christopher Hitchens.
Mm-hmm.
And I reminded her that, like, Hitchens was not a Zionist, and she loves George Carlin. And I reminded her that George Carlin is not a Zionist.
Right.
I mean, it's just,
Right.
it's just crazy. Anyway, you're not my therapist. I don't mean to spend the whole time talking about my mother.
That's all right. She's important.
Larry spoke about his mother. So I'm going to speak about my mother because I'm Millie Bobby Brown and I'm doing my best.
All right. I'm happy to hear it. Man, so yeah. So I think we covered a couple of different topics there, which I think are incredibly important. Not just your move from the mainstream music industry, but how that transformed your worldview and I suppose who you are as a person. I wanted to add just my little 2 cents into that if we can rewind real quick. I have a friend who's in a band. His name's Wyatt. He's in this band called The Last 10 Seconds of Life. And he started this band when we were in college, so, 20 plus years ago. And he's been touring the whole time. And so the interesting part about the band is that he's the only original member. And that's, I think he had to do exactly what you were talking about, is eventually when you get to the higher levels, all the people at the higher levels are people who want to be there. It's not just people who wanted to join a band. All those people, like you saw, get washed out. And so eventually you get to this group of like-minded people, and you can continue, but it very much becomes work. It becomes a job. It becomes this business transaction where you're working with other professionals to achieve this goal. And I think also with some people, they feel maybe the creativity gets pulled out of it at some point, or, the fun, the camaraderie. So I think,
and it
it's
does.
like,
It definitely does. I can't be mad at any of those people, whether it's Dave Mustaine or, Ian Anderson from Jethro Tull, or the fucking guy from Ghost. Like, you can name anybody. And it's like, I can't be mad at them when they fire everybody.
right.
And they just get a bunch of fucking session musicians and it's like, do what I say. And it's like the alternative is Metallica, where you stay together in spite of everything. And I don't know, man. Last time I checked, Metallica's 1 in a fucking trillion. Like, that's,
I was
or
watching
the fucking Rolling Stones.
I was watching some Kiss videos the other day.
Oh God.
They're looking not great, but they're still kicking.
This is the thing what I was always worried about with like having an alter ego and the whole MoTh persona was like,
Yeah.
I don't want it to be a gimmick. And Kiss always felt like a gimmick to me
yeah.
in the way that like that felt disingenuous. It
yeah.
felt not good. It doesn't mean that they don't write some good songs or put on a good show, but I didn't want to do that. So I just assumed that I could just go out as myself. But I'll tell you, one really nice thing about having an alter ego and being able to embrace anonymity is, you can do whatever you want, you could say whatever you want, and then no one has to fucking come to you later and be like, fucking, what do you think about this, or whatever. It's like, I don't have to worry about censoring myself on these records because no one knows who the fuck I am, and they will never know. So it gives me the freedom to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And not in a disingenuous way where I'm trying to make money off of it, but just in a way where, like, I'm trying to protect myself. Like, I struggle with clinical depression. Like, I don't need like, I'm that guy who will read a negative comment on a video and be like, well, guess it's time to call it a day.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that.
And it's not, it's, I like to think that it's not because I care what people think about me, but I care if I'm hurting somebody. I don't ever want to make someone feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to hurt someone's feelings or offend them, or even on a smaller level, let somebody down. So many times, like, I just feel like I'm gonna let someone down. I mean, we spoke about it with that first jam session with Folk. It's like, I went on and on about it. Like, dude, I'm just gonna let you down. And that's a real sort of struggle I have all the time. It's like, I'm just gonna let you down. It's not gonna be good. I mean, I definitely had those conversations with Larry many times and still do. He comes to me with an idea and it's just like, dude, I can't do that. I suck. Like, I'm not able to do that.
Mm.
And, you know, that's really where the MoTh idea became part of my identity. Was like, there were moments with Folk where I would go to his house and we could play and we can jam and it's all fun and games and we're having fun because, like, we're together and we're friends and I trust him. But then you go back and, like, when we started recording separately after he moved to New Hampshire, I really struggled to record because I was just alone. And even though I don't have a mirror in front of my computer, I could almost feel myself looking back at myself.
Yeah.
And I just was like, I can't record. I suck. And I had to do something to give myself the confidence to just play something that I could send to John so he could play, you know, so we could continue to do this thing. And I had a therapist who gave me a homework assignment, you know, because I have a lot of real serious self-esteem issues. And one of the big things that they had asked me to do was draw a superhero version of yourself. And I ended up doing it on Hero Forge, which Hero Forge, if you don't know Hero Forge, get yourself a Hero Forge, because it's just amazing. I don't even play
I've heard
D&D.
the name.
But Hero Forge is a place where you can basically make, you know, digital little D&D type figures for or for any role playing game.
Yeah, cool.
But I believe it's mainly for D&D. I've never played D&D in my life, but I love the idea of it. And I went on Hero Forge and I made a superhero version of myself. And, you know, as an exercise, it was like a fun idea. But what it ended up being was, it was me in a sort of a superhero-ish type pose. And by the way, on Hero Forge, you can actually, they 3D print the figure for you. I mean, it's
that's awesome.
Costs a fortune, but you can do it. So you can, it's not just making the figure, they actually print it and then send it to you, and they paint it, and so it's an actual thing that you can buy. It's really cool. And, you know, so that's
Hero
a cool
Forge.
thing about Hero Forge. Yeah. But anyway, the character I made, it's me, and I'm doing a sort of superhero pose, but there's this enormous green plasma energy shield in front of me. And it's sort of just a literal shield that protects me.
Okay. Wall.
And so I'm able to, so I'm able to embody that superhero posture, but only if I'm protected. And I gotta be honest, using the idea of MoTh as a shield
Yeah.
gave me the confidence, because I know I suck as a guitar player. I know I suck as a person. I know I should have killed myself a long time ago. I know I don't deserve to be here. I know I contribute nothing to society.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that I have no discernible, there's like no reason for me to record music. There's absolutely no reason other than for me, because I enjoy it. That would be the only reason. But nobody is going to get anything out of this. However, maybe MoTh could record something that's worth listening to. Maybe MoTh could write something. I don't think I have it in me anymore, but maybe MoTh does.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the reason why Bad Habits exists post John Folk moving to New Hampshire and us recording separately.
Mm-hmm.
Is because whenever I got behind the computer, I was able to get behind as MoTh and not as me. And when I made the first 3 Faculty X records, they were all recorded and produced by MoTh, not by me.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a big deal. And MoTh as an idea, as a character that I've had in my head since I was 13 years old. I mean, I invented this idea when I was a kid. I used to listen to Fear Factory,
Mm-hmm.
and for a good few years, they were my favorite band.
Yeah.
I was obsessed with Fear Factory because I love the 7-string guttural sounds of Korn. The idea that you just add one lower string, to me as a child, like, that was such a cool thing. It's like, whoa,
cool as
it's
fuck.
like guitar, but it's like a lower string, brother. But like, my frustration with Korn was that it was a little too sort of loosey-goosey.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted something faster and tighter.
Mm-hmm.
And Fear Factory provided that. So, to say nothing of Meshuggah, by the way, who comes for me a few years later, and that changed my life. And now everything I do is just ripping off Meshuggah. But that's neither here nor there right now.
They're a great band.
Basically, I listen to Fear Factory every day. And as a 13-year-old, my dream was to be in Fear Factory. But my idea for it was that I would be this extra member who, on the surface, was almost a mascot for the band. And I'm trying really hard, and I hope you can forgive me for not having a good example to give you of another band that does this.
That's all right.
But Fear Factory would just be the band, but then there'd be this extra member, and his name would be MoTh. And he would dress up as a literal bug. But like, I have a, real love of the Mothra character from Godzilla.
Yeah.
And when Mothra was in the cocoon, that really stayed with me. And so there would be this sort of progression with this MoTh character through the albums where, like, if you go back to like the first Fear Factory album, he would just be sort of screaming here and there and doing like stuff on loudspeaker.
Mm-hmm.
And really just not, it's almost like you almost have to point him out.
Yeah.
To know he was there. And then as the albums progress, he would do more. He would do some singing. He would do some keyboards. He would play some guitar. And there'd be a whole music video. I mean, this is all stuff I came up with like as a 13-year-old, just like maybe there'd be a music video where he goes into a cocoon like Mothra.
Mm-hmm.
And when he comes out, he's like a new version of MoTh where he's like all in white, like shaved head and just painted white from head to toe, but like have his eyes like blacked out. And, in my fantasy, MoTh was the producer of all the Fear Factory albums. He was the sort of silent partner where like on stage, it was like he was like the missing member of Slipknot before there was Slipknot. But he was in a band full of normal guys from Fear Factory.
Okay.
But behind the scenes, he was the songwriter, He was the producer, he was the arranger, he did all of that. I mean, I just loved that idea that to the world, he was this joke character, but behind the scenes, he was this well-respected sort of vital component. And I used to listen to these Fear Factory albums, and I would do the vocals of MoTh. I would scream extra parts. I would sing all these harmonies to Burton C. Bell's vocals, all under this MoTh persona. And like when I was younger, I was like, one day I want to record my vocals and my keyboard parts and my guitar parts for these Fear Factory songs, and put them, not to put them out, just to put them on CD for me so that I can listen to them. Because there was like a good few years where like that was my happy place, putting on Fear Factory and singing harmonies and playing guitar, other guitar parts as MoTh. So, obviously I get older, I become a musician, I sort of create a character for myself, just not the MoTh character. I was using my name, but it wasn't the real me, because the real me is just a nerd who likes watching Star Trek and Kenneth Branagh movies.
Yeah.
But these people need a rock star. So I was on in a way where I don't think anyone else was. Because for me, it was like, I can't be the real me, And I think that's a normal thing for people. I think, if you talk to Alice Cooper, he's the first person to be like, there's Alice Cooper, the fucking performer, and then me, and I'm a separate person, and Marilyn Manson, the performer, and fucking, So I think this is something that happens, but it happened to me before I even got successful.
Yeah.
Or was even good enough to be successful. It happened to me way too early, where I was just like, I have to be not me, because I'm not good enough, I'm not cool enough, I'm not that person. So I've struggled with that for, I guess, my whole, musical journey has been a struggle with that. But when it came time to sort of play with John and record with him, it was like, what could I do? Like, maybe I could use a different name. Maybe I can have an alias. And man, it was the best feeling in the world to be like, what if I just used MoTh?
Hey.
It's an original idea that I came up with as a fucking kid. It just brings me a lot of happiness to think about the fact that as a kid, I had this idea of this guy who produced all this music and arranged all these songs and played all these different instruments. And it's funny that that's what literally happened with Faculty X. I'm not saying it's good, but it fucking happened. So it's, there's kind of like there was a happy ending there. It wasn't necessarily what I thought it was going to be. But I'm happy. I'm proud of those albums that I made with Larry. I'm certainly proud of everything I did with Folk too,
Yeah, self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yes, that's the word, self-fulfilling prophecy. But that doesn't happen without me reaching back and grabbing that MoTh identity and saying, you know what, I'm gonna do it. I'll be MoTh. I'll do it.
Yeah. And the one thing I'm thinking, which is kind of out there, but it's like the idea of telling the future of because I think a lot about that too. I think about what my passions are as a kid, what I was excited about as a kid, and then how that translates to what I do now. I was big into computers, big into playing video games and listening to music and all that sort of stuff. And if I had listened to myself, I don't know, like it's just funny, these self-fulfilling prophecies that we see, that we see our child self is truly not that different from who we are today. And it's just kind of allowing ourselves to be who we idolize or who we view as a child. You know, we want to become our hero. You know, we want to become, or maybe we don't want to. We assume that there is a hero, that there could be a hero, and then maybe the goal is to just eventually become that for ourselves, to save ourselves from whatever.
Because no one's going to save you. I think anyone would agree with that. No one's going to
Yeah.
save you. You have to save yourself.
Right.
Well, and I think that doing it for you rather than this wouldn't have worked if I did it to try to make money, or if I did it to impress people, or if I did it for any other reason than it makes me happy and brings me joy. It has to be because you want to do it, because it makes you feel good. And it doesn't matter if anyone ever knows about it, and it doesn't matter if anyone likes it. It has to be for you. And that's for me, that's freedom. That's happiness right there.
Yeah. I feel that I see the cocoon, and I see an opening cocoon or an opened cocoon, and I see some wings unfurling, which I love, because like I was saying, I've been waiting to do this interview for a very long time. But also in the meanwhile, watching you and of course, you know, Jonathan and Larry develop your styles, your personas, your art. And it's a beautiful thing to see. And I look forward to seeing more and more.
I just kind of assumed, like, what's the fucking point? Like, I don't have anything relevant or interesting to say. And I just decided that it's not for me to make that decision.
Right.
It's certainly not for me. And, you know, talking about developing styles, like, I've had to create other aliases and assume other identities just to work with Larry. Because, like, some of these projects, man, some of these things, in order to give it what I think it needs, it's like not even MoTh can fucking do that. We need this someone else.
Oh, wow. Hey. Yeah. It's yeah, what is that? I was watching this thing about, I think, like multiple personalities, and they're talking about multiple personalities, but they were saying that there is no such thing as multiple personalities. We all have an individual, one personality that can be fractured or shattered, but we can, you know, or separated or broken apart. And
well, it makes me think of that idea that we contain multitudes.
Yeah.
So maybe there's something in there.
Yeah, or yeah, out of one many, out of many one. Yeah. You know, the fractal universe and all that.
Yeah, I mean, we're
metaphysical shit.
There's a lot there that, you know, you can, even as individuals, like, we can make mistakes, we can be evil, we can fucking, you know, do good. Like, we're always just making choices, and we're always, you know, I talk to a lot of people about this, and I find myself sort of having to have these conversations with people and remind them that, like, yeah, you lied, or yeah, you fucking hurt their feelings, or yeah, you fucking did whatever, but that's not all you are. You know, and we there's a lot going on in every individual person. There's a lot going on. Whether or not you have any sort of, you know, dissociative issues or multiple personalities or anything. I mean, I happen to think we're all pretty much dealing with various levels of being on the spectrum. And I think that's the reason there's no normal, is because somewhere in here, like, you're landing somewhere in that circle of, you know, whether it's ADHD or autism or whatever, you know, whatever you're dealing with. I mean, clearly, me, Larry, and, you know, John Folk, none of us are normal. like, and it goes way beyond like, oh, we're just, we have our own ideas. It's like, nah. If you've been listening to me at all, and if you listen to Larry for 10 minutes,
Yeah.
it's pretty clear like we're all over the map.
Yeah. I mean, I feel
And
like, yes,
thank goodness
societally,
for that.
I feel
Thank
like,
goodness for that.
yeah, thank goodness. I mean, we need different perspectives. And I really do think like with things like on this like the spectrum and stuff, I think a lot of it is kind of an outside in thing. We as humans are expected to live in conditions that, you know, maybe aren't the most conducive to proper mental health and all that sort of stuff. And so I think we're seeing
I have
more
so
of
many
these things.
conversations. I have so many conversations with people about that where like,
Yeah.
someone will ask me, do I think we're living in the worst times? Is this the worst time in the history of this country? Is this the worst time in the history of human existence?
Mm-hmm.
And I really truly believe that there's an argument to be made that mentally and emotionally it is unbearable
Mm-hmm.
at any point in time to know better and be unable for whatever reason to make things better. So like living in the dark ages where, people were dying from teeth decay in their 30s, I'm not saying that was easy,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know that as a society, people back then knew the potential of humanity in the way that we know now. And certainly as people knew, like Carl Sagan and Gene Roddenberry back when they were making The Twilight Zone and Star Trek. I don't know how anyone could watch Star Trek or The Twilight Zone and come away thinking like, and we've reached the fucking pinnacle of human existence. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we have a lot of evolving to do. And there are, obviously Larry and I connect on science fiction in a big bad way. These shows, and obviously there's books that Larry loves, and there's tons of movies
Mm-hmm.
that show us a better way of living. And we're literally doing all of the opposites. I tell people all the time, I never read the book 1984, but even I know that that was a cautionary tale, not fucking blueprints.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think right now it's a war of attention. It's like a war, um like the difference between, we're not able to escape as much from, the constant, 24-hour news cycles and, constant social media, smartphones and stuff like that. Whereas before, while there may have been, more physical stuff going on, at the very least you could, retreat a little more from the outside world. And all this, we have such a macro view, when as opposed to, it being much more micro in the past centuries, decades even. And yeah,
We could
nobody knows what that's going to do to our mental health, but it doesn't seem to be doing good things to it.
we could be we could be living in a world where there is no homelessness,
Mm-hmm.
where
Yeah.
every child gets education, you know, where there's real peace around the whole fucking planet. We are united as human beings, and we are not destroying this planet, and we are not destroying animals, and
Mm-hmm.
we are not destroying each other. But instead, you want to fucking kick all of these immigrants out of the country because fuck you if you're not from America. It's like, I don't know, man. Like, I was telling, I mean, Folk and I talk often,
Mm-hmm.
but, we were talking specifically about how angry we are right now. And just being aware of politics is just maddening.
Oh yeah.
But I told him, uh, and I truly believe this, if you are aware of what is happening in the world, whether it's Somalia or Palestine or right here in America, if you are aware of what is happening to trans people and I mean, pick any fucking cause you want. If you know the ins and outs of it and you're not furious, something's wrong with you.
Mm-hmm.
Because the only appropriate reaction is absolute rage. And whether you can turn that rage into action is something else, but you have to be furious at what's happening out there. I mean, I was talking to someone about how when I was growing up, I I heard a lot about how like everything goes back to racism in this country when it comes to black people in America.
Mm-hmm.
And I never quite I believe that I never understood that that was meant literally. I think in my mind I was like, right, like you mean figuratively, but like I had to have somebody draw me a fucking diagram and connect the dots for me and
Yeah.
be like, no, 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 no. And redlining and Jim Crow, like literally going through all these things for me to be like, oh my God, like you mean literally.
Mm-hmm.
It like, and, and that's such a, you know, good example to me of like why all of these people, whatever cause they're campaigning for, it's why their message really doesn't have to change that much. I mean, I saw, um, not an interview, but I saw Bernie Sanders speaking in 1982, and it was almost comical how his message has not changed because things in this country have not changed
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
for the lower class. So
Mm-hmm.
he's just out there still going, on and on, the same he was in the 80s and the same he was, before the 80s. And it's like, that says something to me when you can see that the consistency of this message, all the best movies, whether it's fucking, I mean, everyone's favorite movie, it doesn't matter what it is. Very rarely is it the fucking top 1% winning against the bottom, 99%. And it's it's been the math and the arithmetic has been done for us on why this generation has it harder than their parents in terms of trying to own property, buy houses, paying for college. I mean, the amount of people I
Yeah.
know who are still paying off their student loans, I mean, it's sickening. And it's something that I don't know a lot of boomers that are had to worry about paying off their student loans. You know,
Mm.
they might have had to pay off a mortgage,
Mm-hmm.
but they were able to get the job that paid them the money to afford the mortgage. Like none of the boomers I know were living outside of their means.
Yeah, or you could work. Well, I mean, the college thing, you could work while you were in college and pay off college
Yes.
actively while you were going.
Yes. Yes.
Imagine.
Yeah. Which a lot of
Imagine.
which I mean that just get out of town. That's no way. There's no way.
That's what I'm saying.
Somebody I don't remember who it was, but somebody called out Whoopi Goldberg because Whoopi Goldberg was talking about it,
Mm-hmm.
and she's like, kind of in a not great moment for her.
Whoopi Goldberg of all people.
Yeah, man, like really, just talking about like these kids today, and someone I like did the math and was like, Whoopi, let me explain this to you, and it was incredible to watch and just. I hope she saw that video actually because it was incredible for, someone to be like, let me show you the difference between what you paid if you were born from here to here and went to college from here to here versus us right now. It was crazy.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
It's so funny we bring her up because I was going to mention, I actually just the other day watched this movie, Ghosts of Mississippi. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. I have
Yeah.
heard of it, yeah. I probably haven't watched that since I was, since it came out.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a huge, she's an icon to me. I have a lot of love for Whoopi Goldberg as an actor
Mm-hmm.
and as a comedian, and I support her more progressive views on things. But I went on a binge of fucking watching all of her movies when I was younger, and fucking Karina is one that I was introduced later in life, and that's a fucking
Okay.
monster
I haven't
movie,
seen that
man.
one. I'll have to watch it.
Oh, love Karina. But yeah, obviously, as such a massive Star Trek fan, and I'm upset that I haven't brought
Yeah.
up Star Trek enough. We've been talking for 100 fucking hours, and I didn't mention it more than twice.
Sorry, we got
Obviously, a big
time.
deal for me to watch her on The Next Generation, but then
Mm-hmm.
to find out that, she only became an actor because of Nichelle Nichols from the
Right.
original series.
Right.
I mean, it's such a magical idea to see that, and then to obviously, was it Mae Jemison who was, what is this? Am I wrong about this? She was the first black NASA astronaut, and she was on Star Trek: The Next Generation as a cameo appearance.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, so
Yeah.
it's like that's a real person who became a fucking astronaut, like worked for NASA because Nichelle Nichols decided to take a job on a space show in 1966. Like, man, love
Yeah,
it,
and
love it.
created history. My dad's a huge Star Trek fan, and so we talk a lot about it. Like, first interracial kiss, and just history, his historical show in so many ways.
So frustrating now to see those kind of memes where people are, making fun of fucking disgusting people out there who, people who don't know that Star Trek was progressive. It's like people who don't know that Rage Against the Machine was a political band. It's like, I don't understand
How can
how
you
did you
not?
miss this?
Yeah.
But it's like they had a meme, and maybe we could throw it on the screen later. It's a great
Okay.
meme. I'll send it to you. Of
Please do.
William Shatner saying, "Since when did uh, Star Trek get political?" And then underneath him is that Will Smith sort of meme where he's pointing, and they show the famous "Let That Be Your Last Battlefield" episode with the fucking black and white cookie people, where they're black on one side and white on the other side. Whole episode was about racism, and it's like since
Yeah.
1966, brother, you fucking idiot. When did Star Trek become political? I don't know. When did fucking Rage Against the Machine become political?
Did you see that clip of Shatner with Bezos? After, I guess,
Unfortunately.
yeah, I just saw that the other day. They went up to space, and man, that was a
So,
hard watch.
talk about don't meet your heroes. Like I, as a, as an sort of, I appreciate Captain Kirk as a character,
Yeah.
and I appreciate William Shatner as an actor.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what a fucking, but like, also, what can we expect? It's like people who, are disappointed with Hulk Hogan being racist. It's like, you know what? I don't know why I thought anything different.
Yeah, that's
The
fair.
WWF and WWE now, WWE is one of the most racist organizations from a long line of racist. I mean, wrestling as a whole is a racist whole
Mm-hmm.
racist endeavor. WWE, run by one of the most evil men of all time, you know, I don't know why I thought Hulk Hogan. I don't know why I thought Terry Bollea was Hulk Hogan any more than I thought that William Shatner was Captain Kirk. They're just dudes doing a fucking job, and they are not those people.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe, maybe we should have known on episodes like, uh, what was it? The Corbomite maneuver, maybe? I can't remember what episode it was, but there's this great episode where Captain Kirk goes, it might be the Man Trap actually, where Captain Kirk is on the bridge, and this officer, Yeoman Rand,
Mm-hmm.
comes up, and she tries to get him to eat like a dinner. And he's like, not right now, yeoman. And she walks away, and Captain Kirk leans over and goes to, I don't remember which character, he goes, I can't get used to a woman yeoman on my bridge. And I'm like, come on, dude. This is 200 years in the future. You mean we're still here? Fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, symbols of the, I guess you can almost consider it like seeing a boom mic coming in from the top of the screen, just a little reminder.
It's like the Golden Girls. It's like watching the Golden Girls episodes. You always know when a man wrote the Golden Girls episodes.
Yeah.
When there's like a scene where like there's this great scene, I think it's like the second episode, where Betty White's character is about to go to bed with this guy, and we are supposed to be rooting for both of them, by the way. This scene was written for us to be like, aw, he's such a sweet guy. Betty White's character is nervous to go to bed with him because she hasn't slept with a man since her husband died. Right. And she assumes that he's like all hot and heavy and ready to go. And they have this real heart-to-heart conversation where he's like, Rose, I haven't been with anyone else since my wife died either. Don't think this is easy for me. And it's like, aw, he's so sweet. They're perfect for each other. And then this motherfucker says, I mean, don't get me wrong. I looked around. I pinched a few behinds. But that's it. And you're immediately taken out of the scene. You're like, you what? A few what? Oh my god. Fuck out of here. Directed by fucking Guy Man, written by Chuck Steak,
I was gonna say, I blanked a couple blanks. I don't know. Is there any positive? Can you turn that into a positive? Fill in the blank. Well, I blanked a couple blanks in my day. Damn. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. Well, I think to maybe bring it all around, all back together. So we've gone through, from the womb to the studio to, different, different media that's influenced you, different bands that have influenced you. And you've given me a lot to check out. I guess I would want to know at this point, what's next? We have an album dropping, right? Or I shouldn't say that. But there may be something coming out soon. There may be some work in the future, but all that's done, right? For the most part. So
the fourth Faculty X record, called I Should Have Kissed Her More.
Should Have Kissed Her More.
Is coming out. It is coming out Friday the 13th, 2026, next month in February.
So,
and
yes.
That is, as of today, or yesterday, I basically finished it. There's a couple of loose ends that I have to take care of, but the songs are done. There's a couple of non-musical skits in between the songs that I have to finish, but the songs are done. I sent it to Larry yesterday. He's been listening to it. Oh, yeah? He's been texting me while we've been talking, so great. I know he has opinions.
Yeah, I listened to it.
He probably has the same note for me that he usually has, which is he wants more fart sounds and more orgasm sounds. So I did my best to put as many orgasm sounds into this as I could.
That those flew over my head. I was gonna say the drums sound phenomenal. So whatever you did this time around, it sounds really good.
Honestly, I appreciate that. I think two things happened. The first thing is it's just process of me doing it more. Mm-hmm, so you get the first few Faculty X records, and I'm like, I'm really struggling to play the pads because this is not how I would play drums. Mm-hmm. And then now I've made 3 records like this. I know where the cymbals are now. I
Right.
know where the toms are. So there's familiarity with the drum pad, so I can actually at least have a better shot at it. Um, the drums are going to be a constant frustration for me. I always think about this, how, without the drums, if you heard the songs without the drums, it's actually more in time than once the drums get added. That's when it falls apart. I actually wanted to reach out to a few people I know who could do such a great job on the drums,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't. I There's two things. One, I don't want anyone to work for free, and I don't have any money to pay anybody. So there's that. But the other thing about it is, I I found, despite the sloppiness and the limitations, I have a lot of fun doing it. I I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying I have fun doing it. I I do feel it takes away from the music. I do think, especially with the older albums, for sure, like they would have sounded better with a real drummer who could play in time. But it made me happy to play those parts, and it made me happy to, again, context is everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
The shit is, for the most part, improvised. I don't know, man. Like, I don't want to use the word pride, but I can't think of a better word. I'm proud of those parts. Again, I'm not saying they're good, but I'm proud of them. I listen to them and it's just like, yeah, it's out of time. Yeah, it's sloppy. Yeah, I hit two cymbals when I was supposed to hit a cymbal and a snare.
Mm-hmm.
But fuck, man, like, in the moment, I was having fun while I was doing it, and I captured something
Yeah.
that brings a smile to my face. So it was like, this time around, my goal was like, try to be simpler. don't
Mm-hmm.
don't try to do less, because once you start trying to do more, it's like you're just gonna fuck it all up.
Yeah.
So I just try to do less, and also the album has less. On the previous Faculty X record, there's like 6 rhythm guitars on the left side and 6 rhythm guitars on the right side, and then there's all the overdubs. And on this album, for a lot of these songs,
Mm-hmm.
it's guitar on one side, bass on the other, drums in the middle, and just a few overdubs. So there's already less instrumentation. It made sense for the drums to be scaled back also, and just to do
Yeah.
less with the drums.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I'm liking it.
that was
I'm
intentional.
liking it.
It's very important to me that all these records sound different. It's very, very crucial to me that, as much as I'm able to, we don't repeat ourselves. And if Larry came to me and was like, I want to do another record about Salvador Dali, well, then I would make it sound like Dali World. Or if he said, like, I want to do a
Yeah.
second album about Nightland, let's do a New Age of Cosmic Horrors Part 2, well, then I would cue up all those old sounds and use all those old guitars that's what I would do.
There you go. Yeah.
But he comes to me and he's like, hey, so here's what this album is about, and here's the book I based it on, or the theme, or whatever. And it's like, well, that's a totally different idea from the last album and the albums before that. So to me, it needs to have a totally different sound. And whatever that sound is, based on whatever I feel when I hear this idea or read these lyrics. It's the same with John and Bad Habits. When Folk sends me stuff, we don't have any working titles
Mm-hmm.
in Bad Habits. When we come up with a title, that's the fucking title. Like Seven Dust is big on this. Like they had, songs that were called like Waffle. And
Yeah.
when they were asked why is the song called Waffle, it's like, that was a working title. We heard the riff and it sounded like a waffle, so we called that song Waffle.
Yeah.
And then I wrote the lyrics, and we just kept it as Waffle.
I like that.
Folk and I, we do not have working titles. Just, whatever the title is, that's what it is. And sometimes he'll send me a title, and based on the title, I'll get an idea and record based on what the title is. Sometimes he'll send me an album cover, and it's like, this is the album cover. What does this sound like? And I'll look at the album, and the album cover is, kind of speaks to me, not to get weird and cliche or new agey about it, but the visual, having that visual of like what the album cover already looks like, that tells me what the album sounds like. So it's the same with Faculty X. He'll be like, so the name of the album is I Should Have Kissed Her More, and it's a noir kind of, love story, and it's just like, I got it. I know exactly what that sounds like. To me,
Yeah.
I know exactly how I would want that to sound like. But the other component, and I don't want to keep you all night, but I just want to say this one important thing. The other reason all the Faculty X records have to sound different is because this was never supposed to be all me. It was supposed to be a one and done thing. I mean,
Yeah.
Larry and I have spoken about this ad infinitum, and there's a lot of reasons why it didn't end with that first record. But to me, Faculty X should be like, I'm going to give you an example, an analogy, but I'm not familiar with the show, but I can't think of another analogy in this moment. It's supposed to be like True Detective, in that every season is different. Different cast, different time period, I think, different stories, but it's the same behind the scenes writers. And that's Faculty X for me. Every album should have been different. Like, one album should have been me, another album should have been folk, another album should be you, another album should be, like, it should be different people interpreting Larry's lyrics however they interpret them. It shouldn't just be me. But what happened was, after that first record, I told Larry I'm done. Like, that's it. There's no more. And he had an idea for a whole trilogy, and the trilogy later became 10 albums, which later became 20 albums, which at this point, I don't even want to know how many albums Larry wants to do. That's a scary thought. But at the time, it was like, it's a trilogy. And I'm like, okay, we'll find someone else because I'm not doing this. There was another issue there where, like, I was really hurt because I told Larry, don't tell anyone it's me. Say it's MoTh. Don't tell them who I am. And like a fucking, parent, he was so proud of me.
Yeah.
He wanted people to know, like, do you know who that fucking is? It's this guy. He was so, and I think, I don't want to speak for him, but I feel like he still is so proud of me that he can't help but share with people, like, you need to know who fucking recorded this. You need to know who wrote this. It's because he loves me. It's not because he doesn't respect my boundaries. But the intention of that love created an impact of me being really hurt and mad because people were coming up to me being like, hey bro, love Faculty X, dude. And I'm like, fuck, what the fuck is happening? So I was really mad, and I'm like, yeah, dude, even if I wanted to do more, I'm not going to, because, like, you kind of violated my one rule,
Yeah. Yeah.
And what ended up happening was he changed, I say this a lot, Larry is the king of revision, of the revisionists, and he would say it himself, he's just constantly reworking the shit and coming up with new ideas. So the second album became this double album about Salvador Dali. And to my great ignorance, I did not know who Salvador Dali was. So I was in the unique position to say, I can't do this album. I don't know who the fuck that is. So I think like 6 months went by, and Larry was talking to other writers, and he was reaching out to other musicians, people that you and I both know.
Oh, yeah.
He was reaching out to them. And there were talks of doing records with these people. And out of morbid curiosity, just because I'm like, if Larry is so into this guy that he wants to do a double record about him, I should see what this Dolly guy is all about. just to satisfy my own curiosity. And I gotta tell you, I did one Google search of Salvador Dali, and the sound of the album hit me in the fucking face so hard. And I was like, I know exactly what this is. I know exactly how to make this album. So there was a conversation of like, what if the guy you're currently talking to, because it is a double album, and I was very clear that I do not think the second album out the gate should be a double album. Like, you work up to a double album. You don't just make a double album as your sophomore release. So I didn't want to do a double album, but I'm like, what if, like, I do one and then the other guy does the other one, and that's your double album, and then like the third album could be the other guy. So we're kind of like introducing, we're passing the torch, kind of. And you know, long story short, I just ended up doing the whole thing, which worked out for me because I wrote a doubles, album's worth of songs, so it kind of worked out for me. But after that, I just assumed, like, okay, after I do this, like, I'm done. And while recording Dolly World, he's like, you know what the next album is? It's based on the book The Nightland. Do you know The Nightland? And he sent me an audio, a YouTube video. The whole book is available on YouTube as an audio book.
Yeah.
And I swear to fucking Christ, I listened to like 10 minutes of it and I said, shit, I know how to make that album. I know exactly how to make that album. And I got excited about it. And that's one of the reasons this has continued, this partnership, is once I get the idea in my head, it's very, very difficult for me to leave it in there.
Yeah.
It's like, I have made this baby in my fucking stomach, and I need it out of me.
Yeah.
And so I recorded Dolly Whirl and the New Age of Cosmic Horrors simultaneously. And I basically constructed it, because I was doing them together, as a trilogy. And said, this is gonna be it. I'm fucking done after this, dude. Like, you gotta find somebody else. I'm not doing this anymore. You are doing yourself a disservice by staying with me. Let somebody else do this. And I mean, every album I did with Larry, I ended it as like, this is the end. Namely the first one and the third one. Like, the end is the end. And he started telling me about I Should Have Kissed Her More. And originally there was another idea for like the fourth album, and there was actually other ideas for the third album too. So like, we were talking about all these different things. But once he settled on I Should Have Kissed Her More, I'm like, dude, I don't like that title. That's a stupid title. This is a stupid idea. I don't want to do a fucking album about it. Like, no, I'm out. And I finished The New Age of Cosmic Horrors, and it was done. And then something really fucked up happened for me. Number one, I realized that I was kind of selfish with the New Age of Cosmic Horrors, because unlike the Trash Stratum and Dolly World, I really tried to make songs that were, number one, inspired by Larry's lyrics, but number two, I tried to make stuff that I thought sounded like Larry's artwork. Larry's collages, to me, have a sound to them. And I tried really hard to think of different collages he'd done and connect them to the lyrics that he was writing, but also think about the lyrics that he was writing as if they were collages. What would they look like? And what does that sound like? And the way he fucking writes is like a collage sometimes, because the way his fucking brain is, it's just like, what are you even fucking talking about? So it's like, I'd be reading the lyrics, and I would already be... reading Larry's lyrics can sometimes be like looking at a magic eye, like one of those magic eye pictures, where it's just like, what am I looking at? You have to know how to look at the magic eye to see the image. And sometimes I have to know how to look at Larry's lyrics to derive a sound. Not a song necessarily, because, again, a lot of the stuff is basically improvised, but I do go in knowing what it sounds like.
Right.
whether it's a guitar sound or a drum sound or what's I need to know where we're going. And with I should have kissed her more. I'm like, I don't have a sound for I can't do that one. And going back to the New Age of Cosmic Horrors, that album, I really was selfish with the songs because I made them more for me than for Larry. There's on any given Faculty X record, there's a good 7 or 8 songs that are like, this is for Larry.
Mm-hmm.
And like maybe 1 or 2 that are like, this one's mine. This is for me. This is how I feel about this song, and whatever. And me not trying to make something that I think Larry will like, or try to make something that I think sounds like Larry.
Yeah.
This is something that I think sounds like me. The New Age of Cosmic Horrors, I think it's 10 or 11 tracks. I'd say 9 of them are me.
Okay.
Filtered through, like, me trying to make an album for the book The Nightland.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I thought to do it was like, well, I'm just going to rip off Catatonia. Catatonia is like this metal band from Sweden, I think. Very kind of gloomy, metal band.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's how to make this record. Like, make it as if Catatonia made this record. And when it was done, I felt a little guilty. I felt like I owed it to Larry to give him one more album that was for him and not an album that was for me. So I started thinking about, if I were to do I Should Have Kissed Her More, how would I do it? And I couldn't figure it out for the life of me.
Mm-hmm.
And I stumbled upon 2 glorious, like, magical, imperative pieces and components to this record. Number 1 was the alias, realizing that this was not going to be a MoTh record. MoTh has told, that story has been told,
Mm-hmm.
and in terms of MoTh working with Faculty X, that ended with the last record. It is a complete trilogy, and MoTh is done.
Okay.
I Should Have Kissed Her More is a new identity with a completely different backstory. And this guy was like the guy, he's like a punk rocker from the 80s who knew everybody. He knew all of the greats, but he could never make it himself. And he stumbles upon Larry's lyrics, and he happens to have a band that, like, he knows, like, real high profile musicians, that they're millionaires now. They don't need to do this for money, but as a favor to him, because they all go back from back in the day, he rounds up these musicians to play with him, and they made the new Faculty X record.
Mm-hmm.
And having that backstory and having that understanding of, like, it gave me a way in on how to approach this record, a more sort of punk, not necessarily in terms of genre. I mean, there are a few pop punk songs on the record, but punk in terms of like a real DIY, like everything is one take, which usually I do one takes anyway, but like everything is going to be a little bit more sloppy intentionally. We're going to do just guitar, bass, drums, simple, raw, to the point. And there's not a lot of moments where this album really opens up in terms of sonically having like a wall of sound.
Yeah.
That really helped me. Having that alias really helped me to be able to make that record that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that the Faculty X records range from so many different subjects. So it takes so many different subjects and takes so many different just things from media that I feel like I always see something new when one of the albums comes out, which is really cool to see. I guess the
Yeah,
one thing.
wait till you hear the fifth Faculty X record that Larry doesn't even know about yet.
Oh
That
man, I look forward to it. I guess the one thing that for me that I would like to see more of, just as you know, from the outside looking in, is that I talk to you and Larry, and I hear a lot about the storylines behind these albums and how they come to be, and I would like to. There are times when I'm watching it and I don't necessarily get that, whether it be the choices of we talked about this with like Larry using AI or what have you, but it's just like I feel like sometimes as an observer I would like to see more of the behind the scenes, I guess. But I guess that's what the whole point of having conversations like these are, the deep dives, the director's commentary, as it were.
I love director's commentary, and I've had
Yeah.
real serious conversations with Larry about doing audio commentary versions of the albums, where
Yeah.
Larry can talk about the lyrics and the videos. His partner William could talk about actually making the videos with Larry.
Yeah.
And then I could talk about my process, for lack of a better word, and William is kind of the third member of the band in that way for Larry, because
Yeah, we got to get him
I do
on.
the music, Larry does the lyrics, and William, even though Larry directs the videos, William is putting the videos together, and
Right.
Larry considers him part of the band. In a way that I considered Evan to be part of the band for me, because for that first record, to me, I'm like, I kind of need Evan. I need my buddy on this. Like, I can't do this myself. Larry is just too much. I need a fucking wingman here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that commentary albums would be important. I think Larry has a few too many. He wears a few too many hats, and he's got too many irons in the fire right now. And getting him to do a commentary track is like pulling teeth. So I just stopped asking him, because like it got to the point where I'm like, dude, like let's fucking do this. And he's like, yeah, I'll be right on it. And it's like it didn't happen. So I don't know. Like it's something I would be interested in possibly revisiting. But
Yeah,
you
because
asked the
there's a
question of
lot.
like, yeah, you asked the question of what's next. I mean, what's next is like, I am once again, I feel like Bernie Sanders, like, I am once again coming to you. Like, I am once again trying to stop working on Faculty X and give it to somebody else. And the only reason there's any hope of that right now is because John Folk is interested in working on one. And this is so perfect because he watched your video with Larry
Yeah.
and started thinking, what now if I made a Faculty X record, like what would it sound like? And what of all the books he's talking about and all the albums, potential future albums he says he wants to do, which one would I be interested in doing? And when he told me that, I was like, dude, it's fucking kismet. Because the only reason I'm even recording Faculty X, obviously number one is because John Folk got me to play guitar again. So that needs to be said.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's huge.
But number two, the original idea for Faculty X was not me recording music with Larry. The original idea for Faculty X, and I don't even know if John knows this, the original idea was Larry came to me after listening to Bad Habits and said, you guys should rescore the William Shatner movie Incubus. And I'm like, he's like, are you familiar with the movie? And I said, am I familiar with that movie? I fucking love this idea. And the idea was Folk and I would improvise while watching the Incubus movie live.
Yeah. Cool.
And I think the way I thought about it was like, well, he's in New Hampshire. So if he's not able to get to Brooklyn and I'm not able to get to New Hampshire, maybe he could watch it on his own and record all his parts in New Hampshire, and I could watch it on my own and record all my parts. And in these discussions with Larry about like Incubus and William Shatner and science fiction and politics and the state of the world, Larry got the idea of like, you know what, we should make an album. And the Trash Stratum became sort of a more exciting idea for Larry, because unlike Incubus, which would have just been like a Bad Habits album,
Yeah.
which Folk, if you're watching this, I'm still totally down to do. We can totally do that. But
yeah, you can do it on Discord. Honestly,
yeah, for sure. But the Trash Stratum as an album, I think, was more exciting for Larry because he could be involved with the lyrics.
Yeah.
So I think that became more exciting for him, and that's how that happened. So now that Folk is interested in potentially doing a Faculty X record, and I'm here begging anybody fucking willing to bribe Peter, Paul, and Mary to fucking do something for Larry's benefit, so that there could be a new voice to these lyrics. Now Folk is here, and he's interested. And what I have done to reveal some state secrets is, on the album that is going to follow I Should Have Kissed Her More, I have a few songs that are going to feature none other than John Folk.
Ooh.
And it is my way of, I mean, this album is going to feature almost everyone in the world, including you, as you know. But maybe not in the way that Larry will expect, but hopefully in a way that he enjoys and appreciates. But it's my way of introducing the next voice for this band, so that it can orient whoever's listening as we sort of pass the baton from me to Folk. And now Folk can have a go at making a Faculty X record. And you know what?
Evolution.
If Folk does it and loves it, then he can go off and make more. If he does it and he hates it and says, no, I don't really like that, okay, fine. But like, at least you tried. See, my whole thing is like, we are wasting time if we don't have someone else do it, because we'll never know what it can be.
Yeah.
So I think the two reasons Larry has been hesitant to get someone else is, number one, he's comfortable with me, and that's important. You got to be able to be comfortable and trust the person you're with.
Yeah.
But number two, frankly, I don't think anyone has been interested in working with him on this stuff. So now we have someone who is. Let's give him a shot. Let's have him have a go at this. So what's next for me is, I am anxiously awaiting the Jonathan Folk produced Faculty X record, with the same anticipation that I had after finishing the first Faculty X record and posting on the official Faculty X Instagram, which we could pop up on the screen now too, where I literally was like, thank you for the opportunity. I am gonna bow out and give someone else an opportunity to make records with Larry.
Yeah.
And I am so excited for the opportunity, the possibility to hear someone else filter Larry's lyrics through their talent, because I just believe, I truly believe that it's going to be amazing. If you think you like the albums that we've done, I know that the next record is going to be fucking massive. I know it's going to be amazing, because Larry's lyrics call for other voices. They call for it. It's what the music needs. And I am in agreement with Larry. You have to do whatever the music needs. What the music needs is a different voice. It needs a different person at the wheel.
Yeah.
And we now have somebody who wants to do it.
Progress.
And I I'm gonna be moving on to
Yeah.
work on a Jethro Tull ranking video where I
Ooh.
rank every Jethro Tull album, including including Ian Anderson's solo records. So we're
Hey,
talking like 30 something albums, close to 30 albums.
you need you
I've
need a
actually been,
costume. You need like a jester outfit.
well, I'm way ahead of you. I'm way ahead of, wait till you see, I'm way ahead of you.
Amazing. I can't wait to see
I
it.
am
That's right up
way,
my
way
alley.
ahead of you. But it's, for me,
Uh-huh.
I've, I don't think I've ever been more proud of something in my life than this video. I've got about half an hour done, and in that half an hour, I was able to cover 9 albums.
Not bad. Not
And
bad.
I could, when we're done, I can actually send it to you because
Okay.
it's in its own file.
Yeah.
So you can sort of get an idea. You don't have to watch the whole half hour, just so you have an idea.
Okay.
But I'm so proud of it, and it's given me an idea to do sort of a series of rankings. So once I'm done with this 5th Faculty X record, that's basically almost done. It's gonna be done by the end of January. I'm gonna surprise Larry on his birthday and reveal the 5th Faculty X record, unless this comes out before then, in which case, happy birthday, Larry!
Happy birthday, Larry.
Surprise! But after I finish the Jethro Tull ranking video, I'm gonna do an Insane Clown Posse ranking video.
Ooh, okay. That's a little bit outside my purview, but it sounds like it'll be a lot of fun.
I wish it was outside my purview too, but it's not, so this has to happen.
Hey, fucking magnets. Am I right? How do they work?
How do those work?
Well, I've been following the process since the beginning. And like I say, just watching the progression, watching, kind of the magic y'all are making in the studio. It's just, it's a joy. And I'm glad that I can do at least a little bit of, promo for you guys and for your art that you're putting out there. But I really appreciate you talking with me.
I'm good with anything that is non-AI related. I love this idea of like, let's just fucking talk and not have, because if we're not going to have the band out there, because there is no real band, and if we're not going to be, able to make music videos of actual people, at least let's be able to have a conversation with a real person without any AI, because that's, to me, like anything else that we've been talking about, once you find out how evil AI is, it's just so soul-sucking. And
yeah, that's a whole conversation.
I love that Larry's having fun with it. I mean, for him, I love it because he's able to do these things that he could never ever do. He could never pay a film crew to film what he has in his mind. I mean, so I love that for him. He can type some things into a computer and he's got a whole music video. But every time I see one of these fucking atrocities, I just think to myself, what the fuck do you need me for? Why don't you just use AI? Like, there's no I'm not needed anymore. Falk isn't needed on the next record. Just have AI fucking do everything. And then AI can wipe our asses for us. And then we never have to fucking create anything ever again. Because this thing is going to do it for us. And then deplete all of our energy and deplete all of our fucking water. Just so we can have a video where a guy's hand turns into a fucking pizza because the AI doesn't know the difference between a pizza and a hand. Like, fuck, man.
Yeah.
I hate AI so much.
I feel that. And and that's the thing. I don't see it really overtaking human creativity. I only see it copying it. Which, I guess, the future we'll see.
Yeah. I was able to talk to Larry about this, a couple of maybe year ago at this point, maybe longer.
Yeah.
But the mistakes that the AI makes in the music videos actually does work for his music videos.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
Faculty X and Larry as an artist, as a visual artist especially, he's so absurdist, you know, and when the AI makes these kinds of mistakes where the guy holds a surfboard that turns into a guitar, it works in the context of Larry, because that very much is his aesthetic. I just wish that, for as happy as it's making him, and I am so happy that he is having fun, he's enjoying it, but like, dude, honestly, if I found out that all of these like amp simulators that I use were like depleting our fucking water and just literally destroying the planet, I wouldn't fucking record on amp simulators anymore. I wouldn't, like, I couldn't do it. So that's like, it's such a shame, because like on one hand I really am happy for him, but on the other hand it's just like there is a little bit of that, like, gosh, I wish my mother wasn't a Zionist. I wish Larry would stop using AI, because Larry is a talented artist. He doesn't need AI. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
what AI affords him is the ability to make these things a lot easier than it would be for him to, I don't know how, he'd have to like animate his own artwork, which that's not easy. You know, I get it, it's not easy, you know.
Yeah.
And
Well,
look, man,
anything worth doing, right? So they say.
So they say. I think they're onto something.
Okay. Well, I think that we've covered quite a bit of ground. I think we've been chatting for over 2 hours at this point.
I didn't mention Kenneth Branagh not nearly enough.
But I think that we have time. We're still here. We're both still here for the foreseeable future.
Just so you know, Bad Habits has an entire Kenneth Branagh inspired EP that's going to be coming out.
Oh my goodness. So, well, I'll have to get you both on together, and so we can have that interview. We got to start doing some tandem stuff now. Now that we've got the individuals down.
Yeah, he's mixing an album right now. So maybe whenever he's done with that one and that one's coming out, maybe we can talk about it.
I've been harassing him for the audio when we all jammed years ago. Every time I talk to him, I ask him about it, but I guess he's got quite the backlist.
Listen, let me tell you, if you even had an idea of how much, I don't even know how we recorded as much music as we recorded, because we only had like a few months together.
Yeah.
But we have
the dedication.
I mean, if Folk and I stopped recording with each other right now, if we never recorded anything new, we have, I truly believe, enough material to last us at least another 10 years of constantly putting out new music. That's how much we have recorded. It's just crazy. Me and him always talk about this. Hey, what about this album? Remember this album? Fucking this. It's like, we'll get to it. It's all going to come out. Thank God we don't have fans, because they'd be like, when's the fucking Branagh EP coming out? Because you know how many fucking Kenneth Branagh fans are out there.
Well, I think anybody who's not a Kenneth Branagh fan has not experienced Kenneth Branagh. That's what I would say to that.
I would love to experience Kenneth Branagh.
Well, who knows? Heaven could very well exist. It's a place on earth, they say.
Thank you for talking to me for 2 hours.
My absolute pleasure, Mr. MoTh. So
I'm really not only appreciate this, but I appreciate you helping me out with some voiceover work on the new Faculty X record.
You're very welcome.
I'm very excited to share that with everybody who helped contribute to it, and I was really, really happy to see that you responded back in the affirmative, because that was
yeah, of course,
that was a great for me anyway.
Yeah, it's going right in my resume.
Hell yeah, dude. You're welcome.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, It has been a lovely interview with our friend MoTh today. Give it up. You can't hear this, but there's applause going off. So just take my word for it. Anyway,
I believe it.
I hope to, of course, do this again in the near future. We need to, there's so much music to listen to, so many stories to tell, and so not enough time to do it. So we better get started. So until we meet again, bye, folks. Goodbye.
Hell yeah.